Hi, everyone. It's Jessica. Welcome back to another chat. Hope you are doing well wherever you are and whatever time it is that you're watching this. Today's video is about not being discouraged, and I wanted to make this because I feel like when we are trying something new or putting ourselves out there more, flexing certain muscles that we have not used much before, or maybe we're like getting back into it, it can be very easy to be discouraged when we don't get immediate positive feedback from people or the internet, which is like people online, or just from ourselves, even. And if we don't receive that immediate feedback that's positive, it's so easy to just throw in the towel, give up, and be like, it's not for me. And maybe I should just like try something else or like go a different direction. But I think with anything, it really does take time to see the fruits of your labor manifest. And there's this one phrase that goes, you don't eat the fruit the same day you plant the seed. But the toughest part is trusting and waiting for the seed to turn into fruit, because not every seed that gets planted turns into fruit, right? Even if it's a fruit plant seed, it doesn't necessarily manifest into a fruit. So I think, especially when we are trying something new, it's hard to have that trust and patience to believe that it will work out. And this is where not being discouraged is so important, because if we give up too early, like, we may never allow time for the seed to turn into a fruit. Sometimes things just take a certain amount of time, and it's different for everyone. The timing that things happen for one person can be so different than the timing that it takes for another person. And it's like the analogy of like pregnancy, where a baby takes about 9 months to from like being conceived to being born, and that's like a standard time. But I think for other aspects of life, like, you never know how long it's going to take for something to happen. It's very dependent, like person by person. So I say all of this because I relate and have been thinking about like the journey that I've been on with publishing my Substack, which is at Jessica's Newsletter on Substack. And I started writing it like a couple of years ago, maybe 2022. So it's like been a little bit, but I have gone through like waves of being more frequent in publishing and not. And it wasn't until like the end of last year that I think that's when I got the Substack app. And then there's now like a whole ecosystem of people on there, and like a notes function, which is kind of like a like like and threads type of setup, where you just like post like short form um like words and images, and also they have like video on there too and everything now. But um anyway, I say all of that to say that around last year, the end of last year, is like when I got more active on the app and like posting notes and like sharing more stuff. And now it's like March, so like a few months later, I'm starting to see like more traction in terms of like just like overall engagement with the stuff that I've been posting. And it's just interesting because it's not to say that like the substance or like the content that I've shared has changed. Like it's really like the same thing, but it's just like now more people are like paying attention to it because the algorithm has shown it to them. And it's very much like the snowball effect, right? Where like the hardest thing is like starting the snowball because you have to like form together all of this like like loose snow to like create some sort of structure, and at first it's like so ugly, it's not even a sphere shape probably, but then the more you roll it, like it starts taking form, it starts actually looking more and more like a snowball, and then with each roll you're also like you get more snow onto the snowball, like there's literally more traction on the snowball with each roll, and it just keeps building like that. So and then you eventually have like a snowball large enough to be like the base of your snowman, like a huge snowball. So I think that analogy is helpful, like when you're thinking about starting something new or just yeah, like experimenting with something that maybe you're not that familiar with. And it's important to not just like give up with the mound of like random snow that you start off with. Like because to even get to that point where you're like, I want to like build a snowman, I want to make a snowball, that in and of itself is already a lot of like energy that you've expended to like get to that point of like deciding like, hey, like I actually want to try this. And it's important to not get discouraged in those initial steps because it will be ugly and it will like not look like how you imagined it, and it will be very like frustrating to see this thing and be like, this is like not even what I wanted and this is like not what I imagined, and this is like I'm so far away from like where I want to be. And yeah, I think when you focus though on like the rolling, like the incremental things, like eventually you're going to get there. And that's where like the faith and like the patience and the belief in yourself really comes into play, because like you need all of those things to like keep going. Like you need the hope, like you need that to believe, like even though this is what I'm working with right now, I know that if I keep rolling and I keep going and I keep at it, and I stay consistent and I keep the hope high and like believe in myself, like it will eventually become the thing that I aspire for it to be, and like and that like what I've hoped it to be and like envisioned in my mind. So I feel like the main message is really to just not be discouraged, especially if you're also in a place in your life where like you are in the beginning phases of something, or you've been working at something for a bit and you're like not seeing the results that you want. Just know that like if you keep at it, you're gonna see the results that you want. And I think like maintaining like the faith and the hope and the like strong belief in yourself is like so important for like when you're building whatever you're working on right now. So I hope that message like resonates with you in some way. I hope that the seed that you're planting or have already planted will become a fruit. And I think that if you like give it the right nutrients and you give it time and you give it the things that it needs to thrive, like it's going to work out for you and it's going to become the fruit that you've imagined and that you have hoped for. So again, hope that resonated with you in some way. Let me know if you have any other thoughts on this in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.